enough of that. Yeah, P. Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. 50,000 subscribers as of sometime in the overnight. Man, who would have thought a year ago that we'd be here less than... I mean, I think we were barely over 15,000 subscribers at the beginning of 2020. Just think about that. All right? That's a lot of ground that we have made up together between January and here we are in almost the middle of December. Pretty crazy when you think about it. Actually, we are in the middle of December. So 2020, as kind of crappy as a year as it has been, and it has in a lot of ways, has been a really good year for bringing all of us together here on Sea of Tranquility. We're doing a lot of great stuff here. Not only are we bringing a lot of content to you as often as we possibly can on bands and albums and songs and topics that you guys seem to really dig. And, you're not going to like everything. That's the one thing we all need to understand. It's like, we are catering to a very wide spectrum of people with different musical tastes. We've got folks who come here who just come here for the prog stuff. We've got folks who come here who just all want to hear about all things metal and hard rock. Okay, we've got folks who really like the kind of classic rock stuff we do. We have folks who come here who really don't care about any of the music we talk about, but just like to listen to myself and our guests talk. We've got folks who come here who just like when we talk about horror and monster movies. All right, we got the jazz folks who come here. So there's a little something for everybody here, and that's a really cool thing. But I think, and I've hinted at this over and over and over again over the last year or two. I think one of the reasons why so many of you love what we do here on this channel is, myself and everybody else who appears on this show, on this channel, we're all music fans. And we just love talking music, and we love the community vibe of what has started to happen here, or it's been happening here for a long time. We've got regular folks who come here all the time, who like to engage with each other in the comments, who like to engage with us. They feel, that in some weird way, they've gotten to know all of us who appear here on Sea of Tranquility, and we're just like all of you, right? It's like, so many people talk about how they watch us in their living room on their big screen TV, whether it's the, the Hudson Valley Squares Monday night, everybody turns on, Monday night and into Tuesday morning watching the Hudson Valley Squares, right? Or, you love when Martin Popoff and I get into these deep discussions about albums and bands and music and all that kind of stuff. Or, Chris Allo's sense of humor and just love of storytelling, right? The Butch Jones and Lynn Versace and the Seibert brothers and Jack Toledano and Ryan Scow and Nick Franco, and I mean the list goes on and on. Stephen Reed from Scotland, Simon Bray from the UK, John Newdorf from Canada. Okay, all right. Carl Sederholm, our extreme metal expert from the West Coast. I mean, we've got so many people, and I'm leaving lots of people out here, but so many folks have come and contributed to this channel over the last couple of years, and I can't thank them enough. I know I'm not mentioning some people. There's just our list of guest stars is just immense, and I want to thank all of the musicians and rock stars who have come on here. Especially over the last year. I mean, man, we're getting some big names on here who just want to come and talk to all you guys and spend some time with me chatting about their music or their lives and their new album and all that kind of stuff. Rob Halford and Steve Hackett and Kurt Vanderhoof, right? And Simon Phillips and, John Petrucci, all these great people. Frank Marino, who have come on and who've talked to us over the last year or so. So, I mean, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank everybody for all of what this is, because I couldn't do it without you guys. If you guys didn't watch, we wouldn't be here where we are today. And we're going to continue to bring you some of the most entertaining stuff on the internet when it comes to music. So, we are what we are, right? What you see is what you get. We are not this big budget, lots of edits and special effects and funny stuff and trying to be characters that we're not. There's plenty of other channels out there that do all that, where people, it's all about the gimmick, it's all about trying to play a character on camera and all that kind of stuff. This is bare bones music discussion, all right? No special effects, no fancy this, that, or the other thing, all right? We're not playing all these song clips, because obviously there's all sorts of issues with that, right? This is just music discussion. Think of Sea of Tranquility as television to replicate what you'd be doing if you were sitting down with your buddy or your friends, having a conversation about the albums you love, the bands you love, the movies you like, that sort of thing. That's the kind of vibe that we've always gone for here. All right. It's funny because originally when Sea of Tranquility, the YouTube channel, started back in 2014, can't believe it's been 6 years, the original intent was just to, you know, review all the latest albums as an extension of our website, right? On the website, we have written reviews. I figured to come on here and we talk about them for people who don't like to read. So we come and be like, hey, you know, Big Train, this is what this is about, the new Redemption, right? You know, Blackmore's Night, all this kind of stuff, and we talk about these albums here. Well, it's morphed into a hell of a lot more than that. Right, so we've got rant shows, we've got the Hudson Valley Square shows, we've got interviews. We still do lots of album reviews here. We're doing top 10 songs and ranking the albums and all sorts of stuff. Favorite guitar solos. I mean, it's just the amount of diversity and the amount of variety that we are doing here on a regular basis is pretty crazy and pretty intense at times. Trying to keep up with all this is a challenge, but it's a challenge that myself personally loves because this has been my passion my entire life. And it's just funny because I've always been into music, always kind of wanted to do something in music. I went to school for broadcasting way back in the Stone Age and, you know, was always kind of frustrated that I never actually got too far in, you know, TV, radio, that radio, TV production sort of thing. I did it for a little bit when I was in my 20s, and then, you know, obviously as a lot of us may know, when you're in your 20s, if you're not kind of making the big bucks and really going somewhere in your career, you wind up going and doing something else. Well, that's what I've always done. And I've had a good career doing that something else. But it's kind of cool to get back to, at this, you know, later stage of my life, to what actually I've always wanted to do. And it's been a great kind of, you know, part-time job for me, so to speak, that I've really, really loved. So I want to thank everybody for just making this channel a success. All right, we're going to continue busting our asses here, bringing you content, talking about all the coolest new stuff, still talk about the great old stuff, right? But it's going to be a lot of everything. So, like I mentioned before, you're not always going to see exactly what you want to see on here, but I think we're doing enough videos per week that, you know what, if 50% of what we're producing is right up your alley, that's pretty good. Because I know I follow a bunch of other YouTube channels, and I'm lucky if I get 50% of what they produce is right up my alley. But you know what? That's okay, because you can't love everything. So as I always say, just be patient. The stuff that you really dig, your sweet spots, will come at you. All right. So you know what? If half the videos we produce you love and the other half you're really not that interested in, that's okay. You don't have to watch them. But we're going to bring you plenty of stuff that hopefully will float your boat, so to speak. So I wanted to talk a little bit about upcoming content. All right, so I know I've been trying to do this every couple of days here, but I do, you know, sometimes you forget stuff that's like in the works and things like that. So coming up tonight, we've got another edition of the Monsters Den with Chris Allo and Rich Catino. Oh, Rich Catino, I forgot to mention him before. He's been, you know, helping out on the channel quite a bit as of late. So Rich, sorry, didn't mean to forget you. There's just so many people. Those two guys will be coming on the show tonight. We're going to talk about classic horror monster films featuring stop-motion photography effects with creatures. Okay, so that's coming up tonight. We've got tomorrow another viewer appreciation episode. Okay, Scott Berry's coming on the show. We're going to do a top 10 song show with the Allman Brothers. All right, so that's coming up. In probably a couple weeks, maybe in early 2021, Sydney Taylor's going to help me out ranking, or no, sorry, top 10 song show of Black Label Society. So that's coming up. Let's see, what else? Martin Popoff is coming back on the show 2 more times this week. We've got, we're going to give you our 10 favorite progressive rock albums in one show. The other show, our 10 favorite Southern rock albums in the other. The Accept ranking the album show that we announced just yesterday, we're going to put on hold for a couple of weeks because we both completely forgot that there's a new Accept album coming out in a couple of weeks. So we want to make sure we hear and digest that first before we do this ranking show, because we want to be able to fit the new one in there. So that's happening. Butch Jones and I are going to be doing a show, hopefully soon, about killer album closers. Those last songs on a classic album that just completely rule. So that's coming up. What else do we have? Rich Catino and I, over the next couple of weeks, are going to be ranking the albums of power metal veterans Stratovarius. Nick Franco and I are going to be ranking the albums of symphonic black metal legends Borknagar. I will be ranking the albums of Yngwie Malmsteen and a lot of other bands. I got so many bands on the ranking show schedule. The Tubes, or as some of you like to say, the Tubes, are coming up as well. Chris Allen and I also are going to rank the catalog of Venom. I'm going to do the catalog of Weather Reports. I mean, there's just so many. Simon Bray and I are scheduled to do Atlanta Rhythm Section. Whenever I can get him on the show from his crazy busy schedule, Elliot Fulham is coming back on the channel. We are going to rank the albums of Testament. I'm also going to be doing some sort of a ranking of the albums of Overkill. They got so many albums, so it might be a top 10 of Overkill, so that's coming up as well. What else? For all you Doom fans, I have not forgotten, St. Vitus and Candlemass are coming. Okay. What else? Martin Popoff and I, at some point in the not-too-distant future, will be ranking the studio albums, the solo albums of Robert Plant. I'm also going to give you my favorite albums of Pat Metheny. I'm going to be doing some sort of retrospective on Alan Holdsworth. Ryan Scow and I are going to be doing a favorite, probably 10 albums, because they also got a ton of them, of Manila Road. Okay, I've got, I mean, who else do I have on this list? I've got, Bad Company and Spirit, Jefferson Starship, After Forever, the Vanilla Fudge, Tigers of Pantang, Fleetwood Mac is coming soon too, Cadaver's coming as well, as soon as they get their new album out. I'm going to do Badfinger, Joe Bonamassa, Tony Williams' Lifetime. What else we got here? Climax Blues Band, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. How about another viewer appreciation episode with Jason Morris? We're going to do Power Metal Veterans Ed Guy. All right, I've got Little Feet on the list. I've got Woe Fat, Praying Mantis. Jack Toledano and I are going to be doing Metal Church over the next couple of weeks. Man, Glass Hammer, Black Label Society, so many ranking shows. That's just the tip of the iceberg. What else do we have here? What else? And tons of stuff on the agenda for both the Monsters Den episodes. And so, yes, we will continue with those. Lots of favorite guitar solo shows coming up, guys. Guitar Hack is coming back on the channel over the next couple of weeks. We're going to give our favorite guitar solos of Randy Rhoads. All right, he and I have also talked about doing the guys in Aerosmith, Joe Perry and Brad Whitford. Going to do an Alan Holdsworth show. Going to do a Tommy Bolin show. John Sykes, Terry Kath, Carlos Santana, Yngwie Malmsteen, Martin Barr, Steve Lukather, Eric Clapton, Robert Fripp, Steve Howe, Steve Hackett, Steve Morse, Brian May, Gary Moore. The list goes on and on. There's really no guitar player that's going to be left uncovered for the most part here. What else? Mike Antonelli. Forgot to mention Mike as well, coming back on the show fairly soon. He and I are going to talk about iconic band lineups. Specifically, we're each going to give our favorite and most iconic band lineup of the Miles Davis group, okay? Because Miles Davis had a couple, if more than a couple, fantastic lineups. We're each going to give you our favorites. We're also talking Rush down the road, The Who, The Beatles, all sorts of stuff there. And the Hudson Valley Squares, we've got a ton of things on our to-do list. Next week is going to be, we're each going to talk about some favorite new releases that came out in 2020. Could be from new bands, could be from older bands, right? Some stuff that maybe you've missed that you should check out that we really dig. So as you can see, a lot of stuff happening here. A lot of stuff, and 2021 is going to be just as jam-packed with content and as busy as it has been this year. So fear not, everybody. For some of you who often comment, it's like, Pete seems like he's running out of ideas. He's talking about these bands that nobody knows. I'm not running out of ideas at all. Far from it. I've said this many times. You can't always talk about Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Van Halen, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, and the Scorpions, and Metallica. You can't just keep talking about those same bands over and over again. So there's plenty, hundreds of thousands of other bands that are not very famous, not as well known, that have really good releases that I'm into quite a bit. So if I'm, talking about a band you've never heard of before, I'm not scraping the barrel. I'm just saving some of those other ones for later on, because you can't do all the big ones all at once, and you can't continually talk about the same bands all the time. So my suggestion, if I'm talking about a catalog or a top 10 songs or a review of some band you never heard of before, instead of saying I never heard of these guys, why don't you talk more about Van Halen? Why don't you go and listen to this band that I'm talking about, because it may be your next new favorite band. You never know. That's the joy of discovering new music, new bands, new albums that you've never heard before. There's always something out there. There's always something out there that can turn you on, that you can say, you know what, I never heard these guys before. I never heard that album before. That is great. Whether it's something that came out in the 70s, the 80s, or last week. All right, that's the one thing I've learned in all my years of doing this, just being a fan of music, being a journalist for Sea of Tranquility and various other places, and running this channel. It's like there is always something around the corner that's going to knock you out of your seat and totally impress you from a musical perspective. Always. Whether it's, like I said, whether it's an old band putting out a new album, maybe it's a band you loved back in the 70s or 80s and kind of lost touch with, that comes back and kills it yet again here in the modern age, or whether it's a band that's a fairly new band that's paying homage to the old stuff, or just coming out with something totally fresh. There's so much stuff out there. Rock music ain't dead, folks. Not by a long shot. Still plenty of it out there. So we'll see you all real soon. Okay. Oh, another show I wanted to mention that, again, that's so many. So a lot of you dug the show that I did with Lynn Versace from the Hudson Valley Squares about favorite 80s and 90s hit songs. Well, Lynn and I are going to kind of do a twist on that, and we're going to talk about our 5 favorite and our 5 least favorite MTV music video songs. Okay, so those videos that we watched back in the day on MTV, the 5 that we thought, that's a really cool video, and the 5 that we thought, yeah, that sucks. Okay, so that's coming up soon as well. So all sorts of stuff happening here, guys. All sorts of stuff happening. So strap yourself in. Make sure you subscribe. Okay, if you haven't subscribed, please do, because I got to say, we've got 50,000 subscribers, but man, we've got like 200,000 or 300,000 unique people that visit this channel each month. So do the math. There's a lot of people that come, watch stuff, and never subscribe, and maybe never come back again, or maybe come back often, but they don't subscribe. Okay, so subscribe. It means a lot, okay? If you want to help keep this channel going, all right, we've got ads that run at the beginning of the videos. I made sure to tell YouTube to turn off the ones that happen throughout the middle, right? So you shouldn't see that anymore. Let that little 30-second ad play. That'll help us a lot here. If it's that little banner ad that just shows up at the bottom, leave it on there. Okay, if you want to make a donation, donations really help too, guys. All right, there's a link in every video to our Ko-Fi page. You know, if you want to give $3, $6, $10 a month, whatever you want, okay, to help us out here, that is greatly appreciated as well, because it helps out with all the stuff we're doing, trying to buy better equipment, collect some music to talk about, all that sort of stuff, right? So we thank you, and if you want to get something from our merch page, please go click over there as well. Get a t-shirt. We got all sorts of varieties, hats, hoodies, stickers, coffee mugs, all that sort of thing. So, and also visit our website at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're celebrating 20 years next year. Okay. And we've got over 22,000 album reviews, loads of interviews, and all sorts of commentary on there. I mean, we've been keeping that going strong for a long, long, long time. So if you're ever looking for, some opinions on some album that came out 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or last year or this year, go there. Chances are you'll find it. Okay, as long as it falls within the realms of the, musical genres that we cover. So that's it, guys. So thanks again. I greatly appreciate it. 50,000 strong. How about 100,000 by the summer of 2021? Think that's doable? I think it's doable. We're going to try and do that. So we'll see you guys all later tonight with the Monsters Den, all right? So have a good one. Bye-bye.